been talking about microorganisms in biology. So today we want to talk about the diseases that are caused by microorganisms. We've discussed the beneficial effects of microorganisms, the things we gain from microorganisms. Now I want to talk about some of the devastating effects of microorganisms. One of the major one is the diseases that they cause. So we're talking about the diseases caused by microorganisms. And we have various microorganisms that cause diseases. We'll be focusing on the microorganisms that cause diseases in humans mostly. We'll be talking about bacteria, virus, fungi, protozoa. So we'll talk about diseases caused by these different microorganisms. My name is Daniel, and let's go together in this video. Now, we have various animal diseases that are caused by bacteria. Bacteria is one of the major causes of diseases. We have thousands of diseases that are caused by bacteria. We have tuberculosis, leprosy, typhoid, dysentery, tetanus, syphilis, gonorrhea, and so on and so forth. So we'll be talking about some of these diseases under these following headings. We'll be talking about the diseases. We'll be talking about the causal organism or the causative organism. Then we'll be talking about the mode of transmission of these diseases. How are these diseases transmitted? How do they enter into the bodies of their victims? Then, symptoms of these diseases. What are the things that are observed in these diseases that makes us to know that this is this particular disease? Then, we'll talk about prevention, treatment, and control. If there's treatment available, if there's the ways we can prevent it, we'll talk about that under each of these diseases. So, the first disease that we have here is cholera. Now, cholera is an infectious disease that is caused by a bacterium. That's singular of bacteria. So, it's caused by a particular bacterium, and it affects the intestinal tract of humans. That is the particular place cholera affects. And it's a tropical disease, and it is widespread throughout places like the Southeast Asia, India, and some parts of Africa. So that's the description of cholera. So let's talk about the causative organism of cholera. Which microorganisms causes cholera? Which specific microorganism causes cholera? Now, cholera is caused by a bacteria or bacterium called Vibrio cholerae or Vibrio eltor. So it is caused by this species of bacteria, and the shape of this bacteria is comma shaped. It's shaped like a comma, and it has a flagellum that helps it to propel itself in water. So that's how the organism that causes cholera looks. It's a microorganism. We can't see with our naked eyes, but when we view it under a microscope, we see that it is shaped like a comma. And the species that causes this cholera specifically is Vibrio cholerae or Vibrio eltor. Now, what is the mode of transmission of cholera? How does cholera enter into the body of human beings or other animals? Now, this bacteria, the Vibrio cholerae, is found in water, or it is found in contaminated water specifically. So water has been contaminated by this microorganism, or by maybe feces or urine containing this microorganism. Water that has been contaminated by that contains this Vibrio cholerae. So they enter into the body of humans when we drink water or take in contaminated food. So when this Vibrio cholerae has contaminated a particular food or water, when a person takes that food or water into their body, or they come in contact with feces or urine from an infected person. So the feces or the urine of an infected person also contains this microorganism. And if a person comes in contact with the feces or urine of that infected person, the person can also catch this disease. Also, this disease can be spread by housefly. Can be spread by housefly in the sense that, houseflies, they move from place to place. They perch on the surface of our food. They go to the dirty places like the waste bins, the dung hills, pit latrines. Then they collect germs that contain this microorganism, and some of them could settle on our food. So this housefly could carry this Vibrio cholerae into our food, then cause cholera. So now let's discuss the symptoms that are noticed in a person that has cholera. Now, as we mentioned before, the bacteria that causes cholera, Vibrio cholerae, affects the intestinal tract or the intestinal wall of the victim. So this bacteria damages the walls of an infected person, and this can result in severe diarrhea, can cause diarrhea, and can cause acute abdominal pain. It can cause pain in the abdomen, and can also cause vomiting. So that's the damage that is caused by the bacteria affecting the intestinal wall of of an affected person. Okay, so other symptoms include the feces of this infected person is full of bacteria. So these bacteria are going to be visible in the feces of the infected person. And the feces of an infected person is known as rice water because of its appearance. The bacteria will be present in the feces. So because of this, the patient becomes severely dehydrated due to the large quantities of water that is lost. The person is vomiting and stooling frequently. So the person loses a lot of water. So due to this amount of water loss, the person becomes severely dehydrated. And if it's left untreated for too long, the person could die in about 24 hours in severe cases. So those are the symptoms of cholera. Now let's talk about treatment of cholera. The main treatment that is given to cholera patients is to prevent the dehydration of the body. So because the body is getting dehydrated at a very fast rate, the first thing that is usually done is to prevent that dehydration. And we do this by injecting large quantities of saline solution, that is salt solution, into the veins so that the water content of the patient's cells is brought back to normal. So we inject saline solution, salt solution, that's salt and water, into the victim's veins so that the normal water content in the body of the person can be restored to the normal level in a quick amount of time. Now, we've talked about treatment. So treatment is slightly different from control and prevention. Treatment is talking about when a person already has the disease, what do we give to cure the person of the disease? What do we administer to prevent loss of life and to prevent the sickness from getting worsened? But control and prevention is talking about maintaining the disease among the people that are already infected and not letting it spread to other people. And prevention is, as the name implies, is preventing the disease from even occurring at all. So let's talk about the control and prevention of cholera. And one way we can do this is by vaccination. We can control cholera by vaccination. But the only thing about the vaccination of cholera is that it only gives a temporary protection. So once a person takes a cholera vaccination, it only lasts for about 6 months. So after taking a vaccination, after 6 months, a person could take another dose of vaccination. So cholera can be prevented by vaccination. Another way to prevent cholera or control it is proper sanitation habits. We talked about the way cholera spreads, and it's by contact with contaminated food, contaminated water, contact with feces, and contact with urine. So if we have pure, clean water and we maintain proper sanitation habits, cholera can easily be prevented. Another one is, just like the previous points, drinking properly boiled water and eating thoroughly cooked food. By this way, we can kill any bacteria present in our food or in our water. So if we properly boil the water we drink, especially if it's a stream water or water gotten from rivers, the sources that are not completely pure, we can boil that water to kill the bacteria present in it. And also, when we are cooking meat or any type of food, we have to make sure it is thoroughly cooked to kill or reduce the amount of bacteria present in that food. So those are the ways we can control and prevent cholera. Also, we are talking about control now. Infected persons should be kept isolated in hospitals, and their personal articles should be thoroughly disinfected. Why are we doing this? To prevent the spread of cholera, because cholera only spreads from a person to another person when the person comes in contact with the personal belongings or the contaminated items, or comes in contact with the person particularly of an infected person. So any person that has been affected by cholera should be isolated in a hospital. So that's a way of controlling it. Another way is by keeping our food covered. So that prevents housefly from perching on it or other insects that can cause diseases. So that's another way to prevent cholera, by keeping our food covered. Also, we mentioned that the vector of cholera is the housefly. So another way we can prevent cholera is by preventing the breeding of housefly. So we can employ methods that prevent the breeding of housefly, that prevents housefly from reproducing more and more in the environment and thriving. So we reduce the population of housefly, or prevent housefly from living around residential areas. But just preventing the breeding of housefly can help to prevent cholera. So that is that about cholera.